chop, 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 chop. I never knew I'd like chop. Did you? Okay, so we left off at a high level on what a step down pivot was and why it is significant. So we are looking at the daily time frame here. So we're gonna look at some other time frames and see if we could day trade. So this is more of a swing trade time frame here. Let's delete our traders. They're rich now. They trade automatically with MSP ALGO indicators, right? Okay, so that's good. Let's look at another time frame. This market chops more lately this year than move. So this is significant because knowing that the market's gonna or stock is gonna chop in advance, because that way you're not thinking price is going anywhere, especially if you're playing options. That's how most people get burned, because they anticipate price moving up or down. We'll know price is gonna chop. Okay, so advantage to the retail trader is to know that in advance. Okay, that way they know what the price action will do. Okay, so we could see we got a step down pivot on a 4 hour. We could see this is a 4 hour, so they come on a 4 hour. Let's look at an hour chart here. Got step downs. So there's a different variety of price action that happen, and I discussed the most common type price action. So normally the best time to observe is by back testing and seeing what happened. Okay, so we could see a little baby step down pivot here. And we use Microsoft enough. Let's use another stop. Let's say SPY. Can MSP ALGO step down pivot detect accumulation zones in SPY? Okay, let's just go back some time here. So we could see that price was in a uptrend here, and we got a step down pivot. Zoom in, see what it looks like. So our anticipated price action is 1, chop, right? We got chop, 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 chop. Grab your little horizontal line here. You know how to create support. So so we're gonna say this is about support here, basing it on that resistance level there. And we see that it's acting like a support, so we're happy. So we know what's going to happen. Your first trade, pop, retest the breakout, right? So this is SPY, it's at 271.53. We expect it to retest resistance, and normally it break out. Okay, so you're waiting for that breakout, so why not go long? So that is from 271.53 to 273.21 before this tag came. Now we're looking for rejection, and we can see this is getting rejected, so we want to short this back to support. Okay, so this is 273-ish area, and we know support is about the 271.63. Now we want to see if it's going to have support. Okay, and we can see a pivot came, so we know it's going to retest resistance, at least this resistance again, right? I think this is it pulled back close to the close, and the next day it just gapped up to where it's supposed to go, right? So we knew there were buying pressure because we could see at 11:30 we got a new pivot and price held. Price is slightly below support, is perfectly fine for MSP traders. All right, so price gapped up. Now we looking for to see if it's gonna hold that level. It did get a little tag, and so it did pull back a little bit, but not much. And so it's kind of doing a little chop up there. And that's what these step down pivots do. Tell you price is gonna chop, chop. Chop. Future means chop. Okay, so let's do this, because all right. So we know that we could take this trade once it start holding the support, and we have identified support, so we think it is going to retest. And it failed, so we think it is going to go back. So far we got 2 trades out of that. It could pull back more too. It just really depends on the stock. And this is showing, this seems a little bullish here because it didn't pull back more. Normally it'll pull back below that gold pivot. That's why you got to watch out for this initial support level that was created, because that will be your target when you short. Now you want to see if it's going to hold. If it holds, then we know it's going to pop back up to retest resistance. So that's a long. Chop. Chop. Got that pivot, it gapped up. You saw that already. Okay, got tagged. It's a little choppy there. We're going to just watch this price action. We know it's creating an accumulation zone. It's good to try to gauge where they create it, right? We know that these step down pivots, I think these step down pivots is actually the middle of the accumulation zone. Okay? It's the middle of it. Whether they create the bottom of it first or the top first, it doesn't matter. That's what I gauge. So we're gonna draw a box because we kind of think we got some price action above, so we're gonna draw a box. And we got the bottom. The bottom here. So we thinking that's our box. Pull that back and see we got some chop back here. Okay, so let's see if we do that box is good. Could always move it and adjust. So let's forward and see if that turns into an accumulation zone. See? So you know how to play this already. Before the zone was created. How do you play it? Chop. Play chop. Play chop. Like dots. We hot. Put your little label so it's easy to see. Your little box there. Let's see how long it chopped. So your goal is not to worry about it doing anything, okay? While most traders are thinking drop, they thinking drop. Or these traders thinking pop, we know not, right? So it's advantageous to us as traders because we know price not going anywhere. Not anytime soon. And this is a 1 hour. Look at these little teeny candles. Chop, chop. Chop, chop. Chop, chop. Long the bottom. Always long the bottom. It may flush a little bit. You got to be careful. You can watch money flow for that. Or the MSP ALGO trading bot. But, and then look to short the top. And that's the only play here. Okay, so pop. So we looking for pop. It may flush. You got to watch out for that. We do see a little buying pressure there. Got one. Chop. Pop. And you notice we have another step down pivot too. So every time a new one come out, same price action. We already know. Go to support, we test resistance. We know there's a trade coming along. Back to where? Our target. Good trade here. 271 to 273 for SPY. That's good. Let's go and move this forward. And you see how this old step down pivot became support and resistance. See price sitting on it? It became support. And you see how price tried to go above it? It became resistance. See what happens here and how long it takes to get out of the chop. Now, what that tells me is something about to happen here. While some traders thinking this is going to flush, I'm not sure about this price action here, but it looked like a flush to me. 4 pop, 2 top. Let's see. Like that. We fat. That's why I tell you, don't worry if the price builds support. The institutions don't. Why should you? They love when it breaks support. That's how the market makers could set traps too. Okay? So we know we still in chop, nothing happened yet, but we thinking a breakout coming soon. That's what I'm gauging from this tight price action. Started acting a little different. Okay, we still got some chop. Breakout. Okay? And so here we can see we had a step down pivot. So the chart's constantly communicating to you. You need a chop zone. You need a chop zone. Accumulation zone. These are accumulation zones. These come out in the accumulation zones. So what happens is they begin to do distribution to the bottom of the chop box. They got to create it, right? A guide is the gold pivot to try to help you determine where the bottom of that chop box is, and the lime green pivot near the highs to determine where the top of that chop box is being created. So here go our initial signal right there. And the play. speed this up a little bit. There you go. Chop. 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 We fought like that. This is significant. There's nothing that tells you an accumulation zone is being created in advance. That way you know how to play. That's the hardest part for a trader, is to know what price is going to do. So your goal in these scenarios is to pay attention to the bottom of the chop box and the top of the chop box. Chop it. Chop. Chop. Breakout coming. Now we know its price going to go somewhere. They retest the top of that chop box. Retest. Retest. It passed. Breakout. Breakout. Let's run. It's fun. Okay? So, that's one example of another example. All right. And it happens on all time frames. So if you're a day trader, let's go. So the most important thing to do is look back in the past. Once you see a step down pivot, so I see one here, I could look back in the past and see chop, right? So that's telling me there's already a chop box. Remember, keep saying there's accumulation zone. These are accumulation. These are accumulation. First comes the distributor, they'll, drop it. So we could see there's a chop box that was from the past. So considering this is from the past, we got to be extra careful, because we know these things could break out, because this has been chopping for quite some time, right? Did the normal pull back a little bit to chop, the retest, breakout. This is a breakout. Pull your little chop box along, because we know price action like to use it as support. So the accumulation zone the price should try to be tested as support. So that's what's happening here. Price is trying to use it as support, but then drop. It flushed. So and then we had another step down pivot. All right, we had another step down pivot. So now we got to be careful here. We got to see if that price action going to say drop, drop, drop. So we know chop. You got to chop. Retest. So pop. Holding above that box, right? So we know once price get up here, if it don't immediately start running, there's a high probability this thing gonna drop right back down to the bottom of the chop box. So we see that price is near extremes. Alright, it dropped like a rock. So it dropped from our normal chop 281 to 279.46 for on a 10-minute. Now, market maker about to do something new there. market maker. Let's chop. Non-stop. So now we got to see the same price action. Now this one, you see it, China hold. So you always looking for a retest of that resistance. Sometimes it won't go all the way back up there. So your goal is to look for the retest of resistance and see if it's going to fail. If it's going to fail, then we know we could go back at least to, let's remove this chop box. So we know that it's going to retest, and if it fails, it's going to try to find support. Somewhere around here, we know how to draw support lines. It pulled back a little bit below where we thought support was, and a couple pivots came. We know we could go long. Back to where? Back to, we know where it's going. It's going to retest. This is just a common pivot point, step down, bot language, okay? So now, here's a retest of resistance, pivot, retest. So we had chop, retest, failed, short, drop. Wait for a new pivot or look at the app to see if get confirmation that they buying that pivot, and you know where it's going. Easy trade. So we got 279.89. We thinking our target up here, right? 280.6. We got pop. Gonna try to break out. You long got tagged. You're out. You're out. You know chop. It's not gonna stop. It ain't going nowhere. We know that. The pivot told us that already. So you had here you couldn't really get that. It just didn't really move good. It seems like we like to see chop, chop, chop. At least 3, 4, 5 chop, and we know gonna pop. And plus that distance isn't that far away. With on some of these, so it just depends on how you trade. You could try to get that little pop back up there, but here it failed, so got a short, cash out, got a long, pivot, cash out, new pivot. This pivot's really the same pivot, okay? It may dip a little bit, but it's the same pivot. Okay, so got a brand new pivot here. Get out. So what's it doing? Retesting resistance at 280.59. We expect to break out. It failed. Go short. So we know we got to watch out for this area here. So our first target will be this chop here. 280.37. If it fails, then our next target will be the next support, right? So that's about 280. Got a pivot here. We got a little scared. We got it a little early. That's how we trade. We don't think about trying to make $1 million in one trade. Got chop. Got pop. Okay, we had drop, pop, drop, chop. We looking at it, we know it's near support. And we know this chop box. Let's go to our little chop boxes. We got some chop price action and we day trade. Chop. So we're gonna look, we know that this is probably near the top. So we wanna look at where that top chop. Go to the pivot, let the pivot guide you. So we can really see that this is chop box right there. Why? Because we got two high and a low. We got that low there, and then we got that low that respected that support. So we know we don't do like I see most traders try to put all that price action in one thing when it's not supposed to be in there. That's pretty clear here that this is a flush, a flush, a flush. Flush. Okay. Let's see how long this thing chopped. Sam. Okay, I'm not sure what this did. Oh God, I can't get to that thing. Okay, there it is. Okay, let's see how long this thing chopped. Still chopping up. Chop. Okay. All right, so as you could see, that's why the initial, it's good to know that initial resistance is there, because that way you won't think it's going to go all the way up there. But we don't really need to worry about that too much, because we know a pivot will come tell us what to do. So we got another step down pivot, same price action, chop. Retest the breakout. Retest breakout. Drop. We at least know we got the bottom of that box. Drop. Right? We think that. There's nothing 100% guaranteed. But you should always be ready to get out of your position. Okay, so so there's a few things that could happen. Another thing is this could just break out because it was already in chop. That's why you need to make sure that when these step down pivots come, that I think somebody told me about one of these. So you got to make sure that when these step down pivots come, that you see if it was already in accumulation, because it'll keep telling you repetitively the same thing. See? And this was one of our alerts in the app here, and it kept coming out for a period of time. So this was like June, and it didn't break out until July. So that's why it's good to look at historical data. So we already knew that see, we had this here, that was on the 14th. So this is saying something's about to be created, but you just gotta wait so you can start seeing it in the future. You know it's not going anywhere yet. There ain't no rush. We know gun chop. So I'm thinking that this is the bottom here, because I'm looking at my pivots and based on price action. So it is kind of like here. Okay. Sometimes it don't flush. So we could see a new step down pivot came right there. Chop. Retest. Drop. Be ready for pop. Breakout. That's why you don't want to be premature near these levels, because we could have flush or breakout. And you know that you set risk of a breakout, because see how that was a little bearish there. So traders were playing a chop. They know that's resistance, right? So it did break out, and when it break out, you know, go long, right? Or you could have still been long here, right? You don't need to get out right away, because these things chop a little bit, so you could kind of gauge. So you went long, let's say you knew, and you went long and it chopped a little bit. Now we can see a little selling. So we can like, okay, let's verify that. But you always get confirmation using MSP ALGO Trading Bot. Alright, so that's about the step down pivots. We'll have some more exciting videos on how you can get advanced warning signals using MSP ALGO indicators or MSP ALGO Trading Bot. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next video.